But think for a second, like the benefit of having a buyer's agent, right, is so that they can guide you on price. They can guide you on reasons not to buy. If Zillow's handing that information out for free, what's the benefit of a buyer's agent, right? Like, why have one if they're just saying, oh, go ahead and offer and recommend this, you got, and on top of that, some algorithm that tells you the percent of chance, right? Like, who's to say, if they say no and it was a 95% chance, right? Like, who's to say that was an accurate representation of the percentage chance? And what are they? Nostradamus? They can predict the future, or they can read the mind of the seller. Like, it's just impossible to make those kind of freaking claims, right? Yes. You got a 95% chance. Based on what? Based on your ability to read the mind of the seller? Right?
You know what they're doing? Or what I think?
Yeah.
The super app is to replace real estate agents, right? Like, they keep talking about super app, but like, that brings up a good point of like, if they're telling you what the offer suggestions are, the same way a real estate agent would be able to do that, right? And they're probably just going to bring in more and more AI into the process. It's going to be like, hey, just list and buy straight up on our marketplace. Like, I could 100% see them doing some crazy ass shit like that.
Well, where's the NAR, right? Where are the state associations of realtors that they're associated with that should be governing these things, saying, hey, you can't do that, right? You can't display listings as a member, right, of our association, and then on top of that say, oh, well, we don't think it's actually worth that amount. We think it's worth this amount. Like, they've never even seen the house. They've never been inside it. Who are they to say, right? Granted, I get it. There's data, right? But we know that data can be manipulated. The first thing that when you hire a statistician, the statistician says is, what do you want the numbers to be, right? So like, yeah, anything you want. Like, I'm number one at everything, right? I'm the number one agent, right? Like, number one how? Well, I've sold the least amount of property. I'm the number one agent in that regard. My brokerage is the number one. Number one in what way? Well, we're number one in this little vicinity of this area where there's been 2 home sales and we sold both of them, right? Like, you make it whatever you want. So the data is not really, and I think that too few of people think about that and recognize it. They all think, oh, well, they have all this smart information, so like that must be spot on, right? But the longest running joke is the Zestimate, right? Nobody's ever given credence to that because that's not any kind of a real assessment as far as market value is concerned, let alone appraised value, because real estate is non-homogeneous. No 2 pieces of property are the same. Every single one is different, right? So, you know, you might have one house that has this massive view and you have the same house over here that doesn't have a massive view, but by all intents and purposes, they look almost the same, right? Yeah, but you can't tell. Or one might have, you know, all nice homes next to it. And the other one has a couple of nice homes next to it and a freaking trailer next to that, or trailer park next to it, right? Like, you know, so it's not the same. They're not, none of them are the same.
No.
You can maybe get away with that a little bit in like a condo complex, but even a condo complex, like there's nuances, right?
Yep.
The walk-in floor is going to be more desirable for some people than, you know, being at the top floor, especially if there's no elevator, right? And again, the views are all different, you know. It's just impossible to do these type of things algorithmically, or, you know, with data, or with, you know, even AI. You know, the thing about AI is, I was reading an article the other day. It can't create, right? It can't create anything. So like, it can regurgitate information.
Right.
A lot of people have too much credit for it still. It's not able to come up with something new. In addition to that, I was trying to get those reports ran so we could replace some of our data entry. And I was talking to one of our devs and he was like, do not have it do math. And I was like, why? He's like, it absolutely sucks at math. He's like, can't do math. And I was like, how's that? He's like, well, because if you think about it, you know, it's basically like binary codes, like 1s and 0s, and it doesn't use that. It's like yeses and nos, right? And it's not going to be able to do that in a way that's going to come up with a good calculation. And so, you know, I think a lot of people, they look at things like Zillow, or they look at things like Facebook, or they look at, you know, big, super, you know, apps essentially, and they think, oh, well, they've got all these data scientists, they've got all this information, and they know what they're doing. But the reality is not so much, right? Yeah. And when it comes to having a huge impact on, you know, think of a home seller, right? Largest transaction of their life, you know. In this guy's example, it was a 700,000 to 705, so it was like $45,000 swing. That's a lot of money to the average person, right? 45 G's that you're going to miss out on just because Zillow's algorithm thing that doesn't do good math says so,
Yeah.
right? And on top of that, it has some bullshit 95% chance right? that you can never verify.
Never.
Because if they say no, it was in the 5%, right? Like seriously, it's getting to the point of high concern.